I'm 68 kg body weight and I've benched 160 kg, but my bench used to be completely stuck. And most people don't actually have a weak bench, they're just making a few key mistakes that stop progress completely. Here are the 5 biggest ones. This is so important. A lot of people train hard, but they're not actually progressing. I used to go to the gym, bench the same weight, do the same reps, feel tired, and because of that, I thought I was improving. But nothing was changing week to week. And that's the problem, your body only adapts when it's forced to. What changed for me was tracking everything and focusing on small, consistent progression. Not huge jumps, just for example, like adding 2.5 kg each week, doing 1 extra rep, improving my control with the bar, and improving my bar speed. Even the smallest improvement counts. And more importantly, I started training with intent. Not just completing sets, but trying to beat my previous performances. That shift alone made a massive difference. But even when I started progressing, I kept on running into the same issue. My bench always failed in the same place and I wasn't doing anything about it. For a long time, I would bring the bar down, it would get stuck on my chest, or I was pushing up and it would get stuck at lockout. And instead of fixing those things, I just kept on benching normally. And that's what most people do. They just keep repeating the same movement and hope it improves. But strength doesn't work like that. You have to identify where you're weak. And for most people, it's either off the chest, mid-range, or lockout. And then, once you've identified your weak point, you have to specifically train for that. For me, pause bench builds strength off the chest, close grip strengthen my lockout, dips help build overall pressing power. And once those weak points started to improve, my bench felt 100 times stronger, not just one part of the lift. But even when my strength improved, my performance wasn't consistent. This one's massive, especially when the weight gets heavier. If your technique changes every set, your strength will too. I used to set up differently every time. Sometimes tight, sometimes loose, sometimes rushing the rep. And under heavy weight, that inconsistency is felt immediately. What made a big difference for me was treating every rep the same, even during warm-ups. I focused on things like a consistent setup, keeping my upper back tight, controlling the descent, and pressing in a repeatable bar path. So when I went for heavier weights, nothing felt unstable. Good technique doesn't just make you stronger, it makes your strength reliable. But even with good technique, I was still slowing my progress down. I used to change things constantly. New exercises, new rep ranges, and starting different programs every week. And I did feel like I was doing more, but when it came down to it, I wasn't improving at all. The problem was that I wasn't given enough time for anything to work. What actually helped was simplifying everything. I kept the main movements consistent, things like bench press, pause bench, close grip bench, and focused on getting those stronger over time. That's when I started seeing real progress. Strength comes from repetition and progression, not randomness. And finally, this is the one that connects everything. This is the biggest mistake for most people. You can have the perfect plan, right exercises, right technique, but if you're not consistent, none of that matters. For a long time, I wasn't consistent with training frequency, effort, and recovery habits. That meant I was always restarting instead of building momentum. What actually made the difference was really simple. Turn up every day and train properly. No skipping sessions, no constantly changing direction, just consistent effort over time. And that is what builds strength. So if your bench press isn't going up, it isn't that complicated. It comes down to not progressing properly, ignoring weak points, inconsistent technique, random training, and a lack of consistency. Fix those and your bench will start moving again. This is exactly what took me to 160 kg bench at 68 kg body weight. Let me know your current max bench in the comments. I want to see where everyone's at. And if you want to see 5 exercises that help me build a 160 kg bench, check out the video in the description. Subscribe for more videos on how to build a bigger bench.